So guys, I get this question a lot. How do you trade earnings report? And in this video, I will be exactly showing you guys how I traded Google quarterly earnings report, making around $4,000 in the first 15 minutes of market open. So whenever a company reports earnings, you have to keep four things in mind. The first thing is the actual earnings, how the company did in the past 3 months and how the company will be doing in the near future. That is called the guidance. The second thing you have to focus on is the analyst ratings. Is the company getting price target raises or the lowering of the price targets? Usually after earnings, you get a lot of price target changes by the top US firms. So you have to keep an eye out on the newswire and look out for any price target changes. The third point you have to focus on is the overall market sentiment. I will be explaining this point in detail a bit later in the video. And the final point you have to focus on is the technical analysis. Keep your technical levels in mind because a lot of times what happens, even after good earnings, the stock sells off. So don't trade your bias. Keep the earnings in your mind, but then develop a trading plan based on the technical levels of the stock you're watching. Let's focus on the first point. That was the actual earnings. I post the stock market news and my daily game plan on our Discord group. If you guys want to be part of our Discord group, the link will be in the description box below. Let's focus on the Google earnings. So Google beat the EPS, that is the earnings per share. The estimated was 23.47 and the actual earnings they released was 27.99, the EPS. If you look at the sales, Google beat the sales estimate as well. The estimate was around 63.45 billion, but the actual sales they did was $65.12 billion. This was the breakdown of the first point. The second point was to focus on the price target changes. Personally, I use Benzinga Pro, which is a very good news platform, but you can also find the price target changes on platforms like CNBC and Seeking Alpha, a lot of other news platforms. But you can look at Benzinga Pro and you can see Google had a lot of price target raises. This is the raises or the lowering of the price target. You can see most of the firms, in fact all the firms, they raised their price target. The earlier price target was around 3,100. The new price target is 3,400, 3,660, 3,400, 3,500, 3,200, 3,300. So all of these firms are raising their price target on Google, which is another good news for the stock in addition to the actual beat on the earnings. Coming to the third point was to look at the overall market sentiment. Let's break down the chart. We have to go on trading view. If you look at NQ, that tracks the overall tech sector. You guys can see NQ has been on a rally recently. It made a bull flag on the 1-day chart and then it pushed towards the upside. It recently broke the all-time high as well. So the overall market sentiment is bullish on the tech sector. Another thing I would like to mention here is that recently Snapchat also released their earnings and they missed their earnings big time and they blamed it on the Apple privacy changes. So after the earnings, Snapchat sold off and it's been continuing towards the downside. What are Apple privacy changes is that if you upgraded your iPhone recently to the latest iOS software, you must have seen these dialog boxes, and if you click Ask App Not to Track, that means that this app won't be tracking your searches or what you search online anymore. That directly affects the revenue of companies like Snapchat and Facebook that are highly dependent on ad revenue. I'm mentioning this here because Google as a company is also dependent on ad revenue, and even after these Apple privacy changes, Google was able to beat the earnings by a good enough margin, which is again a good news for the stock. Coming to the last point, and the last point was the technical analysis of the stock you are thinking to trade, and that is Google. In this case, we can see that Google reported earnings on Tuesday after market close. That was on this day. On Wednesday, just before the market opened, Google was hovering around the yesterday's high. It's been consolidating in this nice bull flag on the 1-day chart. If we zoom out, you guys can see it had a bullish move towards the upside. It's kind of making a bull flag, or you can call it a bull pennant right here. Making a triangle, it was looking good for a push towards the upside. And because of all the previous points that I mentioned, this makes it a very good candidate for the break of all-time high. So now we have a trading plan in place because of the 4 points I just mentioned. The final piece to the puzzle is execution, your entries and exits, which is by far the most important point of your trading. And without executions, you can have have the best trading plan in the world, but you won't be a consistent trader. Saying that, let's now jump on to my trade recap. I will be showing you guys my entries and exits and how I was able to capitalize on these 4 points that I just mentioned. Before we do that, please make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification because I'm releasing 2 to 3 new videos on day trading every single week. This is the recording of my trade on Google. If you look at the 1 minute chart, this dotted line, this bold dotted line is the previous day close. This is the pre-market high and this dotted line is the yesterday's high. At the open, I was looking at the break of $2,800 as I saw a bid stepping up about $2,800. Just before the break, I got filled 5 contracts. I'm trading 2,800 calls, same week expiry, and my fill price was 26.85. And as we are speaking, we got a really good push towards the upside. That's why I covered 3 contracts at a fill price of 29.75. Google made a high of the day at 2820 and it was failing to break 2820. I was expecting a bit of a consolidation. That's why I covered another contract at a fill price of 33.20, which is an insane move in my favor. I was holding one last contract. I was expecting a flag pattern and a push towards the upside, but you guys know if I take partials on a position, I will put my stop loss always at break-even price. When the premiums were coming back to my entry point, my entry was at 26.85. I covered my last contract at a fill price of 26.80. Overall, making $1,500 on this trade within the first 5 minutes of market open. This is now my second trade on Google. It's the same trading plan. I was seeing that this $2,800 level, which is the whole dollar level, and the yesterday high was holding on the bids. Buyers were trying to hold this $2,800 level. That's why on this play, I'm reducing my size. My plan is that if I catch a good break, I will add to my position. On this pullback, I took 2 contracts trading the same 2,800 calls and my fill price was 26.85, which was surprisingly the same as my last trade. On this trade, my stop loss is right at the low of this candle, so I'm only giving $2-3 to go against me and I'm willing to accept the risk. I was up $1,500 for the day. Even if I lose $400 to $500 on this trade, it wouldn't be the end of the world. And my trading plan is working out in my favor. I took 1 contract out just before the break of 2810. And the reason for taking this partial, my fill price was 28.50, is because the overall tech sector was kind of looking weak. QQQ was just holding around the pre-market high. So I was not liking that we are not seeing a clean push towards the upside. That's why, just to be safe, I covered 1 contract. I'm holding 1 contract to see if we can break the high of the day and continue to push towards the upside. And you guys can see I got an awesome move in my favor. I just fast forwarded this recording by a few minutes, and when I saw this rejection from 2840, I covered my last contract at a fill price of 46.60. My entry was at 26.85. That means I made $2,000 on this one last contract, which is again an insane move. If I rate both these trades, I think the first trade was again 10 out of 10. My entry and exits were on point. The second trade again, I think, is better than my first trade. I was able to score a really good entry right here, only risking $2 to $3 on the stock price to go against me. And then I got this $40 move in my favor, which is insane. In total, on this second trade, I made $2,000. That was a return of 40% of my investment. I was thinking of adding to my position if I would have got maybe a bull flag just before the break of high of the day, but we can clearly see that it did not give me a good pullback entry. That's why I just held on to my initial position. Let's now look at my P&L. On my 2 trades on Google, overall I made $3,600 within the first 15 minutes of market open. That was all because of having a good trading plan in combination with proper good executions. After these 2 trades, I took 2 more trades on Tesla and Microsoft. Those 2 were also winners, overall ending the day with around $4,000 plus in the green. If you guys want to see more of my entries and exits, more of my trades, you can join our Discord group. The link will be in the description box below. That's it guys. I'm pretty sure this video is gonna help you develop a good trading plan based on the earnings report on the company you are trading. The least you guys can do is give this video a thumbs up and post a comment down below because it helps out the channel to reach new traders out there. If you guys have any questions, post a comment down below. And if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, make sure that you follow me there because I post a lot of good day trading content on Instagram as well, including my green days, my red days. The link will be in the description box below. Thank you for watching and I will see you guys in the next video.